Everyone thinks this week is quiet for superhero news, but that assumption is completely wrong, because something massive is moving behind the scenes, and it connects Spider-Man Brand New Day, Avengers Doomsday, and a trail of teaser clues that almost nobody is decoding correctly. This episode opens a loop that feels confusing now, but by the end, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. And once you see it, the entire MCU roadmap feels exposed in plain sight. Right now, fans are arguing online, asking why the Avengers Doomsday teasers feel disconnected, random, or even misleading. But here is what nobody is talking about. Confusion is not a mistake, it is part of the design. Marvel is no longer teasing movies, they are teasing narratives, and those narratives are meant to collide later, creating a slow burn mystery that only pays off if you track every detail carefully. When Joe Russo spoke about Avengers Doomsday, he confirmed something critical. Every teaser released so far tells its own story, but none of them stand alone. They are fragments of one larger narrative, which means Doomsday has already started without a full trailer. These 1-minute clips are not hype tools. They are story delivery systems, hiding major plot mechanics in plain sight. What makes this more important is that these teasers are intentionally short, because length would reveal structure too early. Marvel wants fans focused on emotion, imagery, and tone, not answers yet. That is why each teaser feels complete but unresolved. And this changes everything, because it confirms that Doomsday is unfolding in phases long before audiences realize the full scope. Now let us shift to Spider-Man Brand New Day, because this is where anticipation turns explosive. Fans expected the teaser months ago, especially with Super Bowl timing rumors. But silence has been strategic, according to industry chatter. Sony is not delaying out of fear, they are waiting for the right narrative moment, and that moment appears to be approaching fast. Industry insider Alex Perez revealed that work on the Brand New Day teaser is already complete. And while no official date exists, the word soon is doing heavy lifting here. Insiders do not use that language lightly, especially with Spider-Man, which suggests the teaser is days away, not weeks, and Marvel knows exactly how loud this reveal will echo. After No Way Home reshaped audience expectations during a global shutdown, Brand New Day carries emotional weight beyond spectacle. Fans are not just waiting for action, they want reassurance that Spider-Man still matters in a changing MCU. And this is why the teaser timing matters so much. It must land when anticipation peaks, not when attention is divided. Then comes the rumor that detonated the fandom. An Iron Man variant is reportedly coming, and not just any version. Robert Downey Jr. returning changes the gravity of Avengers Doomsday instantly. Multiverse rules make this possible, but emotional logic makes it dangerous, because bringing Tony Stark back reopens wounds Marvel carefully closed, unless the story demands it. One theory gaining traction involves Earth 838, where Tony Stark was never resolved on screen. If that version survived the Illuminati massacre aftermath, revenge becomes a powerful motivation. And this detail was not accidental. Marvel planted that unanswered question years ago, and Doomsday might finally cash in on it with devastating consequences. All of this leads to a single uncomfortable realization. Marvel is no longer building toward one movie. They are orchestrating emotional collisions across timelines, characters, and expectations. Doomsday is not about destruction alone. It is about convergence. And once Spider-Man Brand New Day enters the equation, the MCU stops feeling scattered and starts feeling inevitable. What makes this theory stronger is the multiverse logic already established. Earth 838 was shown briefly, but its consequences were never explored. That omission now feels intentional, because Marvel rarely leaves threads untouched. If that universe lost its Illuminati brutally, then an unresolved Tony Stark seeking justice becomes more than possible. It becomes dramatically inevitable within Doomsday. Now shift focus to a quieter but equally important reveal, Star-Lord. Because sometimes silence says more than confirmation. When Chris Pratt avoided denying his return, fans noticed immediately. Actors trained in secrecy never dodge accidentally. And this moment felt calculated, because a simple no would have ended speculation. Yet the door remained open, and that detail matters more than words. Last year, Chris Pratt openly stated that Star-Lord would return after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That promise was not vague, it was direct, and when asked about the Avengers Doomsday cast reveal, he confirmed his chair was present, possibly removed from footage. Marvel hides absences loudly, but hides presences quietly, and this pattern fits perfectly here. Star-Lord returning is not fan service, it is strategic. Because Doomsday requires emotional anchors across cosmic and grounded stories, Peter Quill bridges humor and loss, space and Earth, and his presence signals that this conflict escalates beyond heroes punching villains. It becomes about legacy teams reuniting when the universe no longer plays by familiar rules. Then comes the most dangerous idea yet. Wolverine staying in the MCU, insiders suggest Hugh Jackman is not done, and this changes everything, because Marvel rarely keeps legacy actors post-reboot unless the character serves a darker purpose, and Wolverine does, especially when the conversation shifts toward brutality, survival, and stories that younger heroes cannot carry alone. The idea of two Wolverines existing simultaneously is not chaos, it is control. A younger Logan introduces longevity, while an older Logan brings consequence, history, and scars. Marvel thrives on contrast, and pairing innocence with experience creates emotional tension, especially if the older Wolverine embodies loss that the new generation has not yet faced. If Hugh Jackman remains, Old Man Logan becomes the only logical path, because that storyline explores regret, violence, and moral exhaustion, themes the MCU has avoided until now. This detail was not accidental. Marvel is aging its audience, and darker arcs allow the franchise to mature without alienating new viewers, making this transition feel earned, not forced. Meanwhile, Venom rumors took a sharp turn. Insiders suggest the symbiote enters the MCU without Eddie Brock, which is critical because it reframes Venom as an infection, not a character. After Brand New Day, the symbiote searching for a host creates suspense without resolution, and Marvel loves threats that exist before they reveal their true face. Michael Mando teasing Scorpion suddenly feels less random, because in comics, Scorpion bonded with the symbiote long before Eddie Brock defined Venom. This alignment feels deliberate. Sony and Marvel are not hiding Venom, they are repositioning it, stripping away familiarity so that when it finally emerges, it feels dangerous again, not predictable, and that shift matters. What makes the symbiote rumor more powerful is the silence around Spider-Man Brand New Day. Marvel and Sony are clearly protecting something, because even insiders hesitate when discussing Venom, and that hesitation signals importance. The symbiote is not a cameo. It is a setup piece designed to infect the MCU slowly, changing Spider-Man's future before audiences even realize the shift has begun. Brand New Day is not just a reset for Peter Parker. It is a control point for the MCU street-level narrative. Removing memories was step 1, isolating Peter was step 2, and now introducing threats without clear identities is step 3. This creates vulnerability, and vulnerability invites darker stories, making Spider-Man central again, not by power, but by consequence. Now outside Marvel, another power struggle reveals how unstable the industry really is. Warner Bros. Rejecting Paramount shocked everyone. But the real story is leverage. Paramount expected pressure to work, yet Warner Bros. Held firm, signaling confidence. And when Netflix entered aggressively, the entire situation shifted from negotiation to domination, exposing how fragile legacy studios have become. Paramount escalating the conflict through legal action felt desperate, and the Delaware court ruling confirmed it. Calling the lawsuit baseless was not just a loss, it was a public humiliation. Warner Bros. No longer had to reveal internal strategy, and that protection strengthened their position further, leaving Paramount isolated, frustrated, and effectively locked out of the deal permanently. Netflix matching and exceeding Paramount offer changed the battlefield instantly, offering full cash, removed uncertainty, and raising the valuation to over $80 billion sent a clear message. Streaming is no longer chasing studios. Studios are chasing survival. This move redefined influence in Hollywood and signaled that future franchises will be shaped by platforms, not traditional theaters alone. While Marvel builds mystery, DC quietly locked something important. James Gunn confirmed that the animated series Mr. Miracle is official canon, and that matters more than it sounds. Animation allows darker themes without mainstream backlash, and bringing it into canon signals a tonal shift, where psychological depth and cosmic mythology finally merge inside the DC universe. The confirmation that Darkseid casting is complete adds weight to that shift, because Darkseid is not a villain you introduce casually. His presence defines scale, ideology, and inevitability. Choosing his voice carefully suggests long-term planning, not one-off appearances. And this indicates DC is building slowly, learning from past mistakes rather than rushing toward spectacle. Kathleen Kennedy stepping down ends an era at Lucasfilm, and the transition to Dave Filoni and Lin-Wen Brennan is not symbolic. It is strategic. Filoni understands mythology and fan trust, and this leadership change suggests Star Wars will lean deeper into cohesive storytelling, reducing fragmentation and restoring confidence in a franchise that struggled with direction. Marvel exploring Zombies Season 2 feels inevitable after that cliffhanger, but what matters is timing. The multiverse saga makes zombies relevant again, not as parody, but as possibility. Alternate outcomes strengthen Doomsday themes, reminding audiences that heroism fails sometimes, and those failures echo across realities, adding weight to choices made in main continuity. Across Marvel, DC, and Star Wars, one pattern becomes clear. Franchises are slowing down to hit harder. Secrecy is replacing noise, and setups are replacing reveals. This changes how audiences engage, because patience becomes part of the experience, and the payoff becomes richer, setting the stage for a final convergence that feels earned, not rushed. When you step back and look at everything together, a pattern emerges that feels intentional. Marvel, DC, and Star Wars are no longer competing weekly. They are positioning moments. Every delay, every silence, every tease is designed to train audiences to wait, because the payoff is no longer instant gratification. It is narrative impact that lands harder because of restraint. Avengers Doomsday is not just another crossover event, it is a pressure test. It tests legacy characters, audience loyalty, and emotional endurance. Bringing back figures like Iron Man or Wolverine is not about applause. It is about asking whether the past can survive the future, and whether heroes defined by sacrifice can return without breaking what they once saved. Spider-Man brand. New Day now feels like the quiet center of this storm. Stripped of allies' memories and safety nets, Peter Parker becomes the most human hero again. And that vulnerability is the point, because the MCU needs grounded pain to balance multiversal chaos, and Spider-Man delivers that better than anyone when written with patience and purpose. Introducing the symbiote without Eddie Brock removes comfort. It turns Venom back into horror, a force that corrupts rather than entertains. This shift matters because Marvel has leaned too safe for too long, and Brand New Day offers a chance to reset tone, making Spider-Man stories feel dangerous again, not just spectacular, and that tension fuels longevity. If Star-Lord returns in Doomsday, it completes a promise years in the making, not as a guardian, but as a survivor, someone who has lost family repeatedly yet keeps showing up. His presence reinforces the idea that Doomsday is about endurance, not victory, and that heroes who laugh through pain often carry the heaviest emotional weight. An older Wolverine standing beside younger heroes reframes heroism itself. Strength alone no longer defines value, wisdom and consequence do. Hugh Jackman version carries scars. Audiences recognize. And placing him in a darker arc allows Marvel to explore mortality honestly, something the franchise has avoided, but can no longer ignore as it evolves. Outside the stories, the business decisions echo the same theme: control. Netflix dominance, Warner Bros. Resistance, and Paramount collapse show that power now belongs to whoever owns patience and capital. This affects storytelling directly, because fewer voices control bigger universes, making long-term vision more important than short-term noise. This is why the Doomsday teasers felt strange, why Brand New Day stayed silent, and why rumors feel heavier than confirmations. Marvel is teaching audiences to read between frames, not headlines. And once you understand that, the confusion fades, replaced by clarity, because the silence itself becomes the message. The real reveal is this: Avengers Doomsday will not begin with destruction. It will begin with reunions that feel wrong, familiar faces returning under unfamiliar circumstances, forcing heroes and audiences to question whether saving the universe is worth reopening old wounds. And that emotional conflict will define this saga more than any villain ever could. So, when the Spider-Man Brand New Day teaser finally drops, do not watch it for action, watch it for absence. What is missing will matter more than what is shown. Because Marvel is no longer shouting its plans, it is whispering them. And the fans who listen closely will realize the endgame has been unfolding quietly all along.